Despa Robinson. You're watching B83, and this is another episode of Meet the Artist. And today I'm here with KA.
Yes, what are you saying?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Really good.
Yeah, you're on tour at the moment. How's the tour going?
Tour's going well, going well. As you know, Brom stopped tonight, and we've had some good shows. Can't complain. Every crowd's been live. All I could hope for, really. Yeah.
What would you say the best crowd has been so far? I know you don't.
No, do you know what? I got a little thing for Norwich. I think the Norwich show was like crazy. Bristol, that was one of my favourites, but like London as well was just crazy. We played the Troxy, it's a massive venue. East London as well, where I'm from.
Home.
Yeah, so that was like a hometown thing. Yeah.
You had like what was it, 2,000 people in there?
Yeah, there's like 3,000 in there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What's been the of the tour? What's been the tune that's gone off the most?
The tune, I think New Banger's been going off. Free Wheel Ups has been doing a madness. A Roadman's Hymn, that's like a Percy. But Garage Skank is just it's just something else. Garage Skank is something else.
So, talking about that song, when that came out, what was it? I was on the radio October, November, so I think it dropped. Was it about October, November it dropped?
Yeah, end of last year.
Yeah, and to me, obviously, when you drop something, I mean, you're Kano, so when you drop something, it goes off. But that felt like it had a whole different energy, a whole different presence. Like, how long was that song done, and was it always the plan to put that one out first?
No, that wasn't in the plan. That tune, that was just something I was recording the album and then just like done that as like a heard that tune, done it as a freestyle.
Yeah.
And just was like, I want to put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it just grew and grew and grew, and I was like, nah, I have to put this on the album.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even made like within mind of the album, but it just grew into a monster.
Yeah, because it felt like one of those things that it's like a lead off single.
Yeah.
But you always see those stories when people make the track after, and and that becomes the one that really sets the tone.
Yeah, that's the one. Listen, I got a couple tunes that go off like P's and Q's and blah, blah and all that over the years, but this one just feels different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but people just lose their mind when that tune comes on. No, it's good to have a tune, of the moment like that.
It's one of those songs as well that I've always felt that there's a few MCs that I feel like are effortless when they spit. Like Garage Skank feels like one of those songs where you're just like, whoa, like this guy can spit, like really, really spit. And I think people are like really resonating with it because Grime's on the uptake again, and you just come back in and kind of really set the tone again for how I feel like an MC should really be like hit a track. Did you kind of plan to come out around this time period, or did you always like plan to make the album around this year, or was it?
No. The album's been about 3 years in the making, so and that was a different climate then.
Yeah, completely.
So I've been frustrated. I was so frustrated 2 years ago. I wanted to release the album then. A year ago, I wanted to release the album then. It just so happened that this is when it was ready, when it was finished. I didn't want to put it out if it wasn't up to my standards or it wasn't ready in my mind. It just took a bit longer than I, assumed. And it's out now, and it feels like maybe it was the right time. You know what I mean? Maybe things just happen the way they happen for reasons,
Yeah, because Grimes in its 2015 had a massive stellar year, and it's like you've come out at a time when it's really kicking back off again, hit the forefront. Like, what was the thought process behind like making the album?
It was really just about, I always make music, you know what I mean? And I'm an album kind of guy. I'm always going to put out an album, but this was like it was a real like important one for me. It was like 10 years after my first, obviously 5 years, whatever, after releasing my last album, and it was just like, what do I want to say? What do I want people to know? What can I tell them that they don't already know? Why should I be really? Why should anyone listen to me? So I knew it had to be a serious body of work. I really had to be telling them something. It's real personal, it's autobiographical. It feels like, I hope that it brings the listener closer to me. And it just felt like it had to be special this time. Didn't want to put out music for the sake of it. Wanted to, work on something that I was really, really proud of. So yeah, when I started off making it, and I think T-shirt Weather in the Manor was one of the early tunes, and started talking about those things, and you know, just started getting more personal and more personal, and it just turned out the way it did. I was just trying to be brutally honest.
Yeah, you can tell.
And just keep it like 100% real. Like that was my aim, to just tell my truth.
You mentioned at the start of the interview about A Roadman's Hymn.
Yeah.
And you said it's a Percy. That's a track to me that really stood out on the album. Do you feel like as a kind of older, I mean, how old are you now?
30 now.
Okay, so you know you're older than what many of your listeners like what they're coming up with now. Do you feel like you have a kind of responsibility to talk to people in a way? Because A Roadman's Hymn is like, it feels like you're schooling people in a way.
I don't feel like I have a responsibility, but I feel like I have a responsibility to tell the truth, to keep it real, to and at times like speak for people, speak up for people that don't rap, that don't have albums out, and you know what I mean, can't get their voice heard, like be their voice. And I think a song like that resonates with so much people because they know it's real.
Yeah.
Like they know where I'm from, you know what I mean, and they know the situations that people find themselves in, and they can identify with it. So yeah, a tune like that, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have made that tune when I was like 16 or whatever, you know, maybe I wasn't thinking on that deeper level, but it takes some level of growth, and to make songs that are important to other people, not just about yourself, it's like important to other people as well.
Yeah, it feels like you say it's a great body of work. It feels like an impactful album that a lot of people have I've seen a lot of think pieces written about it, about how they feel it is kind of the way you go ahead and make an album. And I think it's a good year to have made that because it feels like more people are going to be making albums this year, like Stormzy, and I think Frisco's putting one out, Wiley's putting one out. Going back to like the start of your career, and you talk about songwriting and romance and stuff like that. It feels like you've always made songs from the get-go.
Yeah.
Whereas people were putting out back in the day like freestyles and stuff like that. You had Boys Love Girls, things like There Are Lots of Signs in Life. That song there.
Yeah.
Like I used to be on radio like 10 years ago, like 2005, playing those songs and just knowing like these were songs in a scene where it wasn't so song dominated at the time, and you really had that kind of lyrical ability. Like how did you get started? Like what were your inspirations in crafting your songs at the beginning?
Like the song format was always my focus. We used to go on radio and spit and do our thing and back to back and do raves and whatever, and that was obviously really important. But I've always been making songs. I think that might have maybe come through, like my inspiration is like dancehall music, my mum and my family listening to reggae music, and then obviously dancehall from that, and that I really loved, and artists like Beenie Man and Bounty Killer and Mad Cobra and all those guys.
Foundation artists.
Yeah. And they was always really song driven, as well as, like DJing at the rave and blah, blah, blah. They used to make songs, over the same rhythm, just like everyone would have their own version, like their own song with a chorus and a verse and a chorus, and it weren't really going on in my scene, but that's kind of how I knew it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I just used to make beats at home, made Boys Love Girls in my bedroom, and just wrote a song to it, went to record it, then just put it out there on the pirate radio. And at that time, there wasn't too many songs about it. I remember Lethal B had some tunes. I don't know, Dizzy had two tunes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really the thing, was it?
No, it wasn't. It like I said, it was like a very freestyle base. Obviously, you had Sidewinder and all them people used to just go shit at the rave. But I always feel like you were one of the first people to kind of make actual real songs that had an impact as well. Like I said, like Silence in Life, that's a song that I still refer to now with people.
And then it's albums as well. Like,
yeah, exactly.
People had songs but not albums, and I was always like a guy that loved the album, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Into Illmatic and Marshall Mathers LP and Life After Death, and these are albums that I used to love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Woodrow Till, Shiloh, and all of that. So, yeah, I hope that our genre makes more of those, you know, and is more known for like respectable bodies of work and not just like one hype tune here and there,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I think we're about to maybe get back there, because albums like Home Sweet Home, Boy in the Corner, are still projects that we reference to now, and it feels like in that space of time, you would have hoped that there'd be more standout bodies of work that people could say, okay, that's a seminal album, etc., etc. It's interesting you mentioned kind of like your dancehall influences, and you mentioned Illmatic also. Were you influenced by any kind of like hip hop people when you were coming out? Because it felt like, I would say like that you, when you came out with your style at the time, it was so far in advance of what people were doing. It felt like when Nas came out with Illmatic and that whole style, and people referenced Nas as kind of pushing the flow patterns forward of hip hop, it felt like you did the same for grime back then. Was that, you know, were you influenced by anybody in the hip hop genre?
Yeah, I was influenced by hip hop in general, but like some of my favorites is Nas, and you know, Big E was like a big favorite of mine as well. You know, just for like flow and storytelling and just that whole charisma and knowing how to make a song, but still like got bars on lock. You know what I mean? So those are some of my my favorites, and I used to listen to them all the time. You know what I mean? But then I was into like Busta Rhymes as well. He had more of the party tunes, and I didn't have too much party tunes, but I mean, I like all of the different aspects of hip hop, you know. But I think as a genre, we took a lot of inspiration from the dancehall scene in terms of the way it's performed and the way you run one rhythm and all the MCs go back to back on the same rhythm. I think it's a lot more like dancehall than it is hip hop. But definitely, I can see where both come into play.
You even got the clashing element as well.
Yeah, and the clashing thing. You know what I mean?
Influence. You've got obviously the Wiley, legendary clash. I did see Wiley talking about something about that. I think it was like earlier this year or last year about clashing again. Is that something that's going to happen, or is that more of a joke?
Nah, I can't see that. I can't see me clashing again.
Do you watch any? Do you watch any of the new Lord of the Mics, any of the clashes that come out or anything like that? Do you keep in tune with what's going on in the scene? Or more kind of?
I ain't seen like a clash like that for years and years and years. But I mean, I'm aware that Chipmunk's clashing everyone.
Even in the trenches.
At
the moment.
Everyone. Yeah. So I listen to those tunes when they come out. Of course.
Who's been your kind of like favorite collaborations? I mean, do you obviously you can tell you like to collaborate with people. Has there been anybody that's kind of you've gone in with and you felt like, okay, I really wanted to do this, or is there anybody that you haven't collaborated yet that you want to?
I think Vibes Cartel is the one that I always remember. The one I most wanted to do, like, and would just stick with me for forever, because I'm like massive fan of his, you know what I mean, from a long time. And you know, like when you're a massive fan of someone, then like, especially with me, like I'm into the technical side of things, you know. So and I've kind of put him on a pedestal just because of what he can do. So it's easy to meet someone and them to let you down, you know what I mean? Do you know when someone lives up to every single thing and more? In the studio, the way he does it, like the guy is a genius. Like he's a, you know when someone's like a master of their craft and they're just at, you know when you're at the highest level and it just feels like everything's moving in slow motion for them. It's like,
it's just effortless.
It's effortless. Like I saw him at the peak, you know what I mean, of that craftsmanship, and like sat there and watched him work, and that it's just mad.
Do you prefer to do it that way? Because I know people like nowadays with the internet and all that kind of stuff, kind of like phone in collaborations, throw them over the emails and all that kind of stuff. Do you prefer to work organically with people, or have you done things that have been just kind of?
Yeah, I've done both. You know, like for instance, Free Wheel Ups. Wiley sent me his verse in, but I went to Gig Studio and you know watched him do it. I think, you know, I mean, it's nice to be together. But I think, however, whatever makes the tune. However, people are comfortable as well. some people like to write on their own at home, which is fine. Some people like to write in the studio with people about, and you know what I mean, everyone like jamming, having a drink. So however people feel comfortable, you know, but I do like to have the conversation and to talk about things, and you know, not just like I send you the thing, you send me that, and it's kind of done. Nah, it's got to have some kind of relationship there, some kind of, you know, creative, you know, talk or whatever.
Yeah, nah, you can. I mean, Free Wheel Ups, Wiley isn't in the video, but he's on the album version. Was that always the plan for him to be on the album version, or was it kind of a classic?
Nah,
it didn't turn out kind of.
Nah, yeah, I would have loved him to be in the video, but he lives in Cyprus at the moment, so it's harder for him to get back and whatnot. But yeah, nah, you know, I've always wanted Wiley on the song, and you know, happy that he's on the album still.
Yeah, I mean that's is a Swifter Beater production.
Yeah.
On Free Wheel Ups, he's had one of those years where, you know, he's producing banger after banger, off the back of Man Don't Care.
Yeah.
Was it that kind of? Was it looking at Man Don't Care and thinking, whoa, okay, I need to work with this producer, or was it something you planned?
It was my manager Richard that put me up on Swifter. He like obviously was making the album, and I had said to Rich, look, I wanna make the album that I'm making, and I do want to add some energy to the records, but obviously, as you know, the album's a lot. It's very like lyrically driven storytelling. Some of it's deep. I remember we started this 3 years ago, but I'm like, I don't want to make no energetic tunes now that might not be the one in 3 years. You know, what I mean, it might not be what people's playing in the clubs and blah blah blah. So I wanted to wait towards the end of the process, and you know, coming up towards like a year towards the end and whatever, he was just like producing like some amazing music, you know what I mean, amazing beats, and went on tour with Butters, Elijah and Skillian. We done like a club tour, and they played Man Don't Care. It's the first time I ever heard it.
Okay.
And it was just nuts. I was like, who's this? Who is this?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot to do with that track. Then he sent me some stuff, and like Rich explained to him like the album and kind of what it's about is a lot of live instrumentation. If you could maybe make something that has got the energy but could be translated live.
Yeah, to like a band
and he just sent that Free Wheel Ups, and when I heard it, I was just like, wow, that's like perfect. He hit the brief like perfectly, which people don't normally do. Normally I'm in the studio with people and we make the music together. But it's like he hit the brief spot on. And from then we went and got the live brass put on it and stuff to make it, you know, feel like how the rest of the album feels, but it's still got that grime element. It's just a banger, man. Now when I perform it, it's just it's mad.
Like I was saying to you off camera earlier on, I was out on Friday before this, and the response that tune is getting with people, it's like, it feels like when I came to your Manchester when you did the Home Sweet Home date, and P's and Q's came on, and immediately, you know, tore the place apart. The Free Wheel Ups really feels like in the future. Now it's having that effect, but in the future it's going to have the same kind of effect as P's and Q's.
It's mad. That's what Annie Mac was telling me. Same thing. Like, this is like gonna be one of those tunes. Like years and years to come, it's still gonna be a bang. You know, it was interesting. I was thinking like earlier on, or yesterday, I was thinking like this album, and people say like it's kind of got the energy of Home Sweet Home and blah blah blah. And I was thinking Free Wheel Ups is kind of like my P's and Q's. And like Ends is like my Sometimes. You know, How is like my Typical Me, and it's got like you know what I mean. It's quite interesting.
I mean, talking about the albums, I was just thinking that you got Home Sweet Home. I know you had 140 Grime Street.
Home Sweet Home, London Town, 140 Grime Street, Method to the Madness, Made in the Manor, and a bag of mixtapes in between.
Layer Cake was a song in itself. I always feel like if you haven't heard, if anybody hasn't heard Layer Cake, make sure you go and check that out. So I think that's one of your best songs. But you've got like album titles, again, Home Sweet Home, Made in the Manor, London Town, kind of very about home. Like, how important is like pulling from the your upbringing and the city that you grew up in, the environment,
I think
towards your music?
It's like, it's very important, you know, and it's sometimes like when you say it like that, you know what I mean. Obviously, it's clear. But it's not always intentional. It's just, it's so in me, you know what I mean. My childhood, my upbringing, you know what I mean. Where my family's from, Obviously, I'm influenced by that type of thing. Being from East London, that's a massive, influence on me musically and just life as well. It is important, and I feel it should be, that identity should be important to every artist, you know how much Brooklyn means to Jay-Z, and you don't need to go to Brooklyn to, you can hear Jay-Z song and just know kind of, listen to Reasonable Doubt and you just know what kind of thing it is. Listen to Eminem's early work and, that Detroit, he shows you a whole different kind of life in Detroit and how he grew up, that whole thing. So yeah, I think it's good for people that are from where you're from, because it's like, he's one of us, and we can identify with it. But for people that are not where you're from, they get to learn a little thing or two,
Yeah, it's the atmosphere of the city in London. Again, like listening to Free Wheel Ups when I was in London, it just feels different. Like it feels different listening to music that's from there, seeing the reaction with people and seeing it kind of vibrate with the people that essentially it's been made for and made from. It's really interesting. I mean, that's a good segue into Top Boy. Yeah. And that's, again, a very London-centric like project. And how did you get into acting? Like, was that always a thing that you wanted to do, or? Actually, no. It wasn't. It was something that people have been bringing to me like over the years, like even from like after my first album and that. Do this or play this role, or there's a role here as an MC and da-da-da, and it's always been like, nah, I don't want to do nothing like that, you know what I mean? So it's nothing that I aspired to do until literally this project, was a casting director, brought it to, his name's Des Hamilton, brought it to my manager and said, look, I think he'll be good at acting, and we got a script, blah, 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 and then I read the script, and he kept saying, like, have you read it yet? I was like, I'll read it tonight, or next night I'll read it tonight. Like, just anything to put it off, you know what I mean? Then read it, liked it, but then I thought, nah, it's just gonna be one of them idiot shows, innit? Then they told me, nah, it's a serious director, and the production company's serious, and would you like to go in to read? And I swear I was doing anything to put it off. Then I went there, and like, it wasn't given to me, this role either. Like, the casting director really believed in me, but obviously there's a lot more people to convince: the production, the director, and then the channel. So I had to go and cast like 4 times for it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to cast 1 time. Yeah, we like it. Then they flipped character. Initially it was for the Shane character. Oh, really? Yeah. Then they flipped it, and I had a different name as well. His name was Trung or something like that. Yeah. And he was meant to be, I think, like a Vietnamese guy or whatever, but they said, nah, they would like you to do it, and they changed your name to Sully and blah, blah, blah. Then I casted the 2nd time, 3rd time, then I went in to read lines with Ashley on the last time. Okay. And they was like, you got it. But even then, I was like, now I gotta go and do it. Now it's like serious work. Was it your first time doing that? First acting. It's no joke. Like, it's serious, man. You got like you got to read all the scripts. You got to learn, not just learn lines, but you got to build a character. Yeah. So then we done some workshops, and we worked with Martin led with like an acting coach, and he come around my house sometimes, and we would just run scenes, and like he taught me so much. Plus the director helped me so much, and Ashley helped me so much. You know what I mean? He's got experience, hasn't he? So. Yeah, but to do like a big thing like that on your first gig, it's a real tough thing. So that's why I didn't make any music for like a couple of years as well, because like so much focus was put on that. If you want to do something properly, and that's the kind of guy if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it for real. Yeah. So I put a lot of effort into that. It feels like you played that character really well. You say you didn't read for that character at first, but Sully's a really he's a dark character. Yeah. Obviously he's the kind of character who will just do anything at any time to do what he needs to do. How did you draw on again your experiences, the same way of making an album and being from that environment? Did you draw on your experiences of knowing people that to kind of bring into that character? Definitely. We done that all the time. Even like we had, even when the script was getting developed,
after it's green lit, but I mean, we done workshops and we changed little things, and so we got, you know, we was allowed to say like, nah, I think that this this should happen, and nah, this wouldn't be the retaliation for something like that, and blah, 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 because we know, you know, we went from, so we got to do that as well. But in terms of my character, I definitely was looking at certain people, like, I'm gonna take this bit from you, this bit from you, you know what I mean? Like 100%.
Yeah. You can tell, man, it's a massively authentic show, and it shows, like, you know, just the vibe of, you know, how the streets are, I guess, in England, how the streets are in London. We've had 2 series. Yeah. The second one has ended on a cliffhanger, which I'm very pissed off about.
Yeah, no.
You know, I'd like it to be closed off, but are there, I don't know if you can talk to this, anything, but are the rumours about, you know, Drake putting some money behind Top Boy trying to bring it back? Is any of that true? And can we see a 3rd series of Top Boy coming?
I don't know. Like, something in me believes there will be another one.
There has to be, man.
Because I think there has to be.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but if I had to guess, it's like, yeah, but I don't know the politics involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I wouldn't be mad if it was finished, but I don't think it ended like it ended.
It ended in a way where, like, we were all waiting for series.
Man thought episode 5 was coming, the way it ended, you know what I mean? Man was like there next week, like, you know? So it definitely ain't ended like it's the end of the whole thing.
It can't be.
Yeah, I'll be up for doing it again only if it was done in the right way, though, you know what I mean? I don't want it to, like, be some different kind of glossy, weaker thing, like, kind of diluted.
Even the cinematography of that show was just really, 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 really
That's
good.
the thing. That's why I was involved, because it was like quality on every level.
Yeah.
From the writer, you know, like Rona Ben, he's written big stuff with like Johnny Depp and things like, you know what I mean? So proper director, proper production company, series as well. So I don't think anyone of those people would be into like messing it up and just doing some stupid thing. So I think the quality will remain, and if it does, I would.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be there.
It's interesting as well, because I guess it came at the right time for it to have had the break, for you to go ahead and focus on the album. If you're saying that you like to focus on, you know, your projects at the right time.
I didn't have to ever answer that question to myself. Like, if there was a 3rd one straight away, what would I have done? Because that would have pushed the album back, like, for sure, you know what I mean? And then you probably have to sign a contract for the 3rd and the 4th and whatever, and it's like, could I see myself not putting out this album for, you know, not making music for like another 3 years or whatever? Like, starting my album now.
Timing's timing. I mean, everything for a reason, man.
I couldn't have done that. So it's like perfect for me that I get to release this album, and then we'll see what comes.
Have you ever like looked at the way the market is, and I don't just mean the grime market, I just mean music in general, and felt like this isn't the right time for me to be out right now. I'm gonna take a step out, and, you know, they can wait for Kano to come back.
A little bit. Yeah. Like, maybe a few years back. I think, again, Top Boy was like a blessing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of masked the fact that, you know, if it wasn't for that, maybe I would have just been like more chilling. Like, just not really feeling this game, like, and everyone's trying to do this and that, and, you know, making music that I can tell that they don't really like, but they're trying to gain something else from it, which I understand, but it's just not what I'm good at, you know? It's not what I'm good at. So I guess I got to do something else during that whole period. But yeah, sometimes it is just a timing thing, man. Yeah. I feel like people are ready for something real, you know? And consumers know more than they ever did, you know what I mean? And they can tell what's fake. I got little cousins in that that say, yeah, man, you just made that tune for the radio and to get on the BBC playlist, and they're talking like that.
Yeah.
We never ever knew what that meant.
Yeah, they're a lot more savvy nowadays.
Yeah, so, you know, in social media, and people, you can't fake it nowadays, really. It's too much on you. Too much cameras and things.
How have you transitioned into that social media era? How's that been for you? I mean, I guess first starting out, we just about had, I don't know,
like MySpace.
like Rewind, Mag Forums, and all that kind of stuff.
God,
Like, back in the day to kind of get information out. Have you transitioned, like, really well into that whole kind of giving them a bit more on the Instagram and the Twitter and all that kind of stuff?
I think like a slow transition.
Yeah.
At first I'm like, you know what I mean? I kind of like the going away and coming back with like music, you know what I mean? Yeah, I see some other people like, someone like Lethal B, I think he uses it as a
master of social media.
Use it as a tool, like a real tool. And he's great at it. And he gets to showcase his personality. Yeah, and I think like his audience love it. And so I think there's loads of people better than me on it. Yeah. But I'm just me kind of thing, you know what I mean?
I think you've always probably been more of the artist that we learn about you through the music and kind of where you're at the time, being so honest in the music.
Yeah.
You can hear it, like you can really see, okay, this is what your thought process is right now.
Yeah, I believe so too.
I mean, we're in 2016, Grime's having probably its biggest year ever, off the back of 2015 and the kind of the industry and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel about being, one of the forefathers, I would say, of the grime scene? Coming from Nasty Crew, Foundation, Jammer, DWE, Marcus, or just all of what Nasty Crew was. How does that feel to look like 10, 12, 13 years later? See where everything is. Like.
Yeah, it's mad. I don't do too much looking back, but like when I'm forced to look back, it's just wouldn't have thought that we'll be here, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We wasn't doing it to end up here, and hopefully, it's not the end. But we were just doing it as hobby, just fun, just like kids playing football in the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got radio, wasn't getting no money or anything like that. If we got £50 for a show or something, it would be like a happy day. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wouldn't have thought, we'll be achieving the kind of success that we are now. And Dizzy would have gone on to do so much things, and Lethal and DWE, just about, because I used to listen to him growing up. You know what I mean? I seen him the other day in Newcastle doing a show and smashing it, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like, it's crazy. And now you got the young kids coming up, and they used to listen to us growing up.
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing. We're just really just building this scene and this culture, and it's good stuff, man. And I don't think it's like, look, there was a time where people thought it was a phase or whatever, but
yeah, they did. Yeah.
Nah, this is it. Now it's here. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's people who've been literally. You mentioned culture. There is a grime culture now, and people have literally been raised on grime music for 10+ years.
Yeah.
To where it's internalized. Like there's a whole grime culture. Are there any younger artists that you look at and you think like he's got the juice, and there's people that you really think like that guy?
Yeah, I like a lot of people out there, like as you know, on tour right now with like Jams and Temper and Daps, and I think like, I've had a lot of talks with Daps and whatever, and I think he's definitely an artist, and he's keen to get better and perfect his craft, and just wants to learn and loves the stage, and he's definitely got something there. I love Little Sims. You know what I mean? I think she's sick. She's out there doing her thing. But there's loads of MCs. You know what I mean? Loads of MCs, from novelists to bonkers to, you know what I mean? There's a lot of good people out there.
Yeah, there's actually, saying that, there are actually so many now, with big fan bases as well. Like there's a lot of people doing that thing.
And there's people that have kind of been around, but are getting more shine now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned kind of the approach from when you first started, with it being a hobby and kind of like kids, kicking football in the street, etc. And then it felt like it did go like into a really commercialized segment where the labels started coming in. You mentioned earlier people maybe doing things that they didn't want to really do, music they didn't really want to make. Kind of feels like we're out of that stage now, and it's getting back to doing it for the love of the music and getting some actual real music made. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. But it's like once the people speak, they're not, the the bosses listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people like whoever, Stormzy or whatever, will have success in the chart from a freestyle that wasn't on the A-list on radio and blah, blah, blah. It's just his people are speaking, you know, the fans are responding. Then the people upstairs have to take note, you know. But before, it's just the way it goes. You know, you have to make a song that's gonna get on daytime radio and it can be on this and that. And they're putting money into it, so, you know, they're taking the kid and signing them for all these bags, and they're gonna need to have their say.
Yeah.
And you're gonna kind of need to do it there. Yeah. If you want your album out, you gotta do a bit of what I say, you know. And I understand why a kid will take the bags, coming from where he's coming from, never seen any money like that. No, you know what I mean? I can understand why people want to achieve mainstream success. Like, we can all understand. Anyone at any job is offered a raise
when you put it like that,
to come and work in this department or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gonna do it, but we're just gonna get like so criticized for it, or what else, you know, or we're gonna live and die, you know, by it, you know.
Did you ever go through that yourself, or have you had creative control, you know, pretty much through your career?
Yeah, I think I've always like had creative control, and I never would do anything I don't want to do, but I think sometimes you feel pressure, like external pressure, even if it's not really verbal, like you do this, you kind of know what's expected, so you kind of try and make people happy, but yourself happy at the same time, and then it turns out that you didn't really go far enough that way, but then not far enough that way to make yourself happy, and then the fans are like, nah, I don't really, you know what I mean? So it's just in this limbo kind of area. So I've experienced that, you know what I mean, quickly, and just realized that it's not for me, you know. But I think every artist in the world will experience that, you know. I'm sure Jay-Z had, when he put on the yellow suit.
Did Sunshine.
And then you really realize, you know what, let me do it this way.
Have you ever had a Sunshine moment for yourself? You, like a song or video that you wish you hadn't made?
Probably. I remember Ghetto was saying, he was saying, yeah, man, keep it real. He goes, they ain't heard what's on the laptop. What's never come out yet. But yeah, I think, I don't know. And every artist will experiment and blah, 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 and you know, pull themselves back and whatever. It's just a part of, like, you know, growing and learning and becoming who you eventually are, you know.
I mean, label-wise, who are you with now? Talk about labels.
Parlophone, now.
Would you ever go independent?
I've been independent. I've been independent for, I think it's about 7 years, 8 years.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that. Was that when you did 140 Graham Street?
That was the beginning of my independence.
Okay, yeah.
And that was, I think, 2008.
It's been a while, man.
You know, so from 2008 to January this year, that was all independent. So I made this album independently,
with the idea
all by myself, and then I've done a deal afterwards, and it partly was because of I wanted to make it the way I wanted to make it, and then let's talk afterwards. I didn't want too much cooks in the kitchen. You know, everyone's got an idea, ain't they? Why you do this? Why you work with this person and work with that? But I think even if I was in that situation, I would hope that I've been in the game long enough. I've earned enough respect for people to just, you know, let me do my thing. So, but yeah, I didn't even have to deal with that. So, yeah, it's been cool. Now I'm with them. We've partnered up. They bought into the music that I already made, and yeah, it was down to help me get it out to as much people as possible.
Yeah. Is it easier? I mean, obviously a major label is a major label. Is it easier with those kind of mechanics behind you again now to kind of get the product out there to as far afield as possible?
I wouldn't say anything's easy. I think if something is working or gonna work, they can take it to the next level.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think if something, you can put £10 million into a project, if it's just not gonna work, it's just not gonna work. You know. You can make it look good, but it's not happening. You know. So. I think the machine, you can benefit from the machine, but you have to be doing the right things already, to be honest.
Yeah, the music speaks for itself, and obviously, I mean, Gary, knowing now that the music that you put out predated a deal or whatever, it was working. It was doing, he was doing what he needed to do.
Yeah, because we done a lot. I think early doors we done Flow of the Year, but that was like really early, and then we done.
Was that kind of the creep in to?
Yeah, that was
back
the,
out,
the creep,
Yeah.
and then it was like How, a new banger. Then it was like Garage Gang. Then we dropped 3 Wheel Ups, and then Ends to show them like a different side of the album, and then drop the album. So yeah, and people have received it very well, and yeah, it's been going down good every night, and yeah, it just feels right. People seem to be happy that I'm making this kind of thing, and yeah, it feels like we're breaking ground, man. We're doing something special.
Do you know what was really interesting for me that's just come to mind that I completely forgot about until just now? And you're talking about like partnerships with people. Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
Like how did I remember just watching TV one day and thinking, wait, that's Kano. Like it's Mercedes obviously, not to say that you're not as big as certain brands or whatever, but watching TV and just seeing the random Mercedes advert that just came completely out of left field for me. How did that even come about? Like, did they come to you and say, hey Kano, we want you to be in a new Mercedes advert?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Just like that, and they showed me the whole idea, and it was like a 9-day shoot in Portugal, and they want to do something interactive and where the viewer can choose how the advert's going to finish, whether it's going to go left and go right and blah blah blah, and they're promoting this car called A-Class, and like kind of
was that the lead off for the A-Class?
The A-Class,
which is now one of the biggest cars they've made.
I think historically the A-Class had been quite
it was
grown up, like mums and dad kind of thing and whatever, and they wanted to flip it.
Okay.
And I think go down more of the like Golf GTI.
Makes sense because it is the product that
1 Series and go down that kind of thing, A3, and appeal to more younger people, cooler people, and blah blah blah, and just got men involved through that. And because the car was a success, I didn't see any royalty checks, but I see the car a lot.
I see that car too much now as well. I mean, it's a car that obviously, if that was the plan, they've done very well in marketing it to a younger audience.
Yeah, they've done well, man.
Have you done any other brand partnerships like that? And is it something that you want to get more into?
Yeah,
or you're selective about what you do?
Yeah, I think it has to like work with me and what I'm about, and also, or like also what my fans and listeners would respond to. So yeah, I've done things here and there. Like I just done a thing for Adidas in promotion of a new trainer called NMD.
Oh, that one. That's the one that came out recently, it was a couple of days ago, like sold out.
Yeah, it's like it's a hot thing.
shoe.
Yeah. So we done something in London recently. We done something in Berlin.
Was that the Future House thing that they did?
Then we done the Future House thing in London, where I got to like curate a whole day, and got to do like Q&A. Swifter was there as well. Spoke a lot about the album, and then I done a performance, and just in promotion of this shoe. So yeah, I think for any artist, like the whole brand collaboration thing is a big thing. Has been a big thing for a few years now, and the more and more music isn't selling how it used to, I think you see a lot of brand partnerships being built between artists and companies.
Well, this kind of is a good segue into my traditional final question, which is we've talked about acting, we've talked about music, etc. Where do you see yourself as Kano in 3 to 5 years? What does that look like for you?
Believe it or not, I've never ever looked that far in front, but because this album's for 3 years, let me say for 3 years' time, I would like to. I've had another album out already, and about 3-4 more tours. And it's hard to think of anything past music. I've got a lot of ideas that I wanna, music-wise ideas, a lot of projects, and one of them is another solo album, and then I've got a couple other ideas.
Can we see because you just said another solo album, which is a very interesting way of putting it. Can we see an album with you in Ghetto?
You kind of clocked
I preed that very quickly. Can we see that happening?
Maybe. We spoke about it, and like over the years we've spoke about it, but it's always never been the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right time, sorry. Like you can do it, or I can do it, whatever. But now I just feel like he's such in a good space, energy-wise,
is,
and I'm
man.
out
You
there
see, you
doing
feel
my
it as
thing.
well, yeah.
It would be like if we could put that together, it would be nice.
I always felt like you two are like two sides of the same coin, kind of. Because when you came out, you always felt like the flow patterns were kind of similar in a way. Sometimes it's like you were like Mario, he was evil Mario.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like you were Mario, he was Mario. I say this a lot to people, and I'm glad you got what I'm saying. But it felt like that way. To see that coming together and have a project would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be sick. That would be sick. But yeah, man, and he's doing so good at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out there, one take, smashing it. But yeah, I just feel like me and him together, just from the beginning, we just clicked.
Yeah.
And even if we ain't performed together for a long time, when we step on the stage, it's just like
it's just there,
right back where we left off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be cool, maybe.
All right, Kano, thank you for coming in.
Nice one.
Good talk to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm Despa Robinson. You were watching Be It Free, and that was another episode of Media Artists. And you can catch me next time. And make sure you go and buy Kano's album, Made in the Manor, out now.
Hey.